Okay, so let's start, or why did we create this feature? This was actually a feature ordered by the company Ineo Jenbacher in Austria, formerly General Electric Jenbacher, and they create approximately 5 projects a day. The drawings or the number of drawings are between 2 and 5 PNIDs, and their projects and PNIDs are pretty much standardized. So if they create a project and create typically at least 2 drawings, then depending on the project, they have the parameters of the project, and then they know, okay, I need to insert this assembly. So they predefined various assemblies or templates or yeah, whatever you want to call them, and then they insert them and then make some fine adjustments, and that's about it. So this is why they are able to create 5 projects a day, and they have 25 licenses of Plant 3D. So there's also enough manpower. But that's the reason, and they have an access user interface which they want to use to then, from that user interface where they handle all their project data or project information, to, from that, with a click of a button, create the project in Plant 3D and create the drawings and set the properties and drawings. So first, let's have a quick look at what PlantProjectCreate can do. So PlantProjectCreate is the feature, and that's part of PlantExpressTools. And there is still a little typo. It can create projects. In addition, that's an option, it also can create drawings. And it can set the project and drawing properties. And it can also work as an update functions. Let's say if you made changes to your project and drawing properties in your application, and you then want to refresh your existing project or drawing properties. But also as a part of the update, you can also have the PlantProjectCreate new or additional drawings. And you need, there are 2 parts of that feature. One is to set it up, and the second is to use it. The first part, you need especially one file, and that's either an Excel file or a CSV or a text file. And that is a file which tells PlantProjectCreate which columns which project and drawing properties should be handled or should be filled out. There are some mandatory properties or settings like the project path, the project name. That's about it if it comes to the project. If you also want to create drawings, then of course you would need to have the drawing name, and that's about it, I think. And the category, whether it should be a PNID or the 3D drawing. So the template file here, Excel, is empty besides the header. I will open it later. So this is what you need. Then you probably need a project template, or not probably, you need a project template. And that's enough for us to get started. So what happens is, if you start PlantProjectCreate, which is an external tool, it's not running within Plant 3D, it runs outside, it will use the template file here to know which properties or which settings you have. And we will go through that process. It's actually very quick. And if you are done, you can create multiple settings or configurations. Let's say if you have different customers and they all use a different project template, or they have different properties, you can have multiple configurations through PlantProjectCreate, and all these configurations will be stored in an XML file. I use here PlantProjectCreate XML, but the name is really not important. So I don't have that. I will create that. And then if the setup is done, the application has to go through two steps. First, it needs to export again, as an Excel, CSV, or text file, the actual project data, like the real project path, the real project number, and so on. All these properties and settings need to be exported. And I have this file here as an example. And this contains the actual project data. This Excel file, the structure is the same, but this template is empty or can be empty. You can also have some test diameter values in it, but they are not used. So they are essentially the same. So this is part one. The project data need to be exported. And the second step is then that the application starts PlantProjectCreate with certain command line arguments, and I will show them to you. In my case, I don't have an application. I use a batch file. This is what you see here, a standard Windows or DOS batch file to simulate the call of PlantProjectCreate with the command line arguments. And then PlantProjectCreate will start Plant3D and then initiate the copy and rename project function of PlantExpressTools, but without any user interface. So that really goes with no user interaction. And the copy and rename function will then read that project report or export data to know where to create the project, under which name to create the project, and potentially which drawings to create, and so on. So this is the overall concept, and that's all I have for PowerPoint. And so we have here these two Excel files. Let's have a look. That's the empty one. So you have project path, project name, maybe project description. Then I have some properties, project properties of my own. Then I have the sheet size or page size for the drawings, if I want to create drawings. The title, the file name, the number, revision, again, some additional properties I created. And the category. And if we look at my, let's say, simulated file, so this is what I will, actually I want to delete this one here. I want to use that for later. And that's for my last demo. Okay, so these are the data which will be exported by the application. So project name, there was the project path before, project path, name, project description, year, project number. The order of the properties or of the columns is not important. So I have the project properties first and then the drawing properties, but they can be mixed. It's not important. So that's the data which will later be used to create the project and to create the drawings. So I will save that. What else do I have? I have here my folder with my DWT files in it. I copied them from Autodesk because I just want to have everything in this folder. And the only thing you need is the path to the AutoCAD exe. I did not go there. Let me just set this path. We will need it in a moment. AutoCAD Plant 3D. Okay, here it is. So now we will start and set up PlantProjectCreate. So there, I have here an icon on the desktop. By default, it's not there, but it will be installed, and you just create a shortcut. However, it's probably not that often after it's set up that you need it. But so let's get started. So I will create a new configuration file because I have one as a backup, but let's call it PlantProjectCreate. Maybe XML. Okay. That's the file name. The file name is not important. It's just any file name. The configuration name will be, let's say, the predefined. You can change it. It's just a name, but it will become apparent later that it is important. Then I need the folder. Actually, not the folder. That was my mistake in the last demo. I need the project XML of my project template. And where is my project? I should move that up there. Okay, so you can use drag and drop if you want. Otherwise, you go to the three buttons here, three dot button here to select. And the folder for my DWT files. And what I want to do is, in my Excel file, I use the page sizes A0 and A1. So I have to define them here. So later on, PlantProjectCreate knows which DWT file to use for which page size. Then I need the template. And now I will start the mapping. I'll make that a little bit larger. So let's start the project path. In my Excel file is here the project path. A project name, let me project, I will project number, okay, and here I have the project, where is it? That's a drawing. Come on, client project name. Where is my project? The project name. Then we have project description. Actually, then I have the year. That's one of my own properties. And PO number. Then I also want to create the drawing. So what I need is, well, I need all, in my case, need all of that. The title, file name, and the number. Then I have my properties, revision, and drawn. Come on. Checked, and issued, and finally the category, which is important. I think it's at the beginning. Plant 3D category. Then issue, check, date and index. And the file name is here in the beginning. The page size I also need. Yeah, the page size, sheet size or page size, whatever. That's this one here. That's also important. Otherwise, it will not work. The drawing number, and drawing title. And that should do it. Title. Okay. Finally, you can decide after the process of creating the project and the drawing has been done, or will have been done, should AutoCAD then close? I will not use that because I want to show you the result. And so this, my settings I just created are now stored here in this XML file. But again, there can be multiple configurations in one XML file. So now that I set it up, for those of you who I did not really pay attention, for those of you who came online later, this session is recorded and I can make it available later on as well. Just send me an email. But I can also already say this, this session and in the future also the old ones will be made available in on our homepage. There will be a blog section in the English version. In German there is already one, but in a few days there will be a blog on our homepage, and there you will find all the webinars also from the past. Okay, so continuing, now that we set it up, now we can actually start it. And as I mentioned before, the application would create this Excel or CSV or text file with the project data, and then it would start PlantProjectCreate with command lines. Since I don't have an application, I have a batch file here. And I also saved this as a text file, so it's easier, let's say, to read. Maybe I can. So what we have here, we start the plant project. So the application needs to start the PlantProjectCreate. It needs to start or use the PlantProjectCreate XML file, which I just created. Then the configuration name, which is in the XML file, and then the export file with the in my case, the Excel file with the data of the project. And so I will do this by starting that batch file. And now PlantProjectCreate starts AutoCAD Plant 3D and then initiates or triggers the copy and rename function of PlantExpressTools, which then will create the project and the drawings. So it's already happening. Should be 3 drawings. And then Project Manager. Yeah, we get a message at the end. And Plant Project Manager, or the standard Project Manager as well, will now show the project. Let me hold on. Yeah. Okay, let me make that a little bit wider. So now we have here our project data. You see the project name, the project description, and here my PO number and year. I have here my 3 drawings. We see the number, the title, and the other properties I have. And that's how it works. So now let's make some changes to the data. So since again I don't have an application, what I will do is I will make some changes here. Let's say A, B, C, and the date. If you use times or a timestamp, then or date, not time. Date, yeah, well, or time if that's the case. Make sure that you type it in Excel, if you use Excel, as a text. So with an apostrophe in the beginning, and let's say 7/11/2019. Sorry for using a European time format, but yeah, you type in anything you want. And I also want to create a new drawing, so I copy that. Maybe in A0, that's the 4th drawing, number 4004. Well, here it's also the same, so I should type it in as a text. Revision 0, and it's not, since it's a new drawing, we don't have that yet, and maybe 16/01/2020. Again, as a text, 16/2020. Okay, save, close, and start the batch file again. And now it works as an update function. So it will not recreate the project or recreate the drawings which already exist. It checks and it will update the project properties if necessary. It updates the drawing properties if necessary. And it will create, in my case, the additional 4th drawing. So if I again expand this here a bit, then we have now 4 drawings. The first show now the revision and the date here. And here we have the new drawing. So this is typically how it can be used. Again, the reason for INEO was to speed up the process of creating projects, but also, and that's I think a factor important for other customers, it avoids let's say using the wrong template, using the wrong so our Plant 3D template, it avoids using the wrong drawing template, and it makes sure that the proper the properties are filled out correctly and completely. So that's the idea behind it. It's probably not for everyone, but yeah, can be interesting. As I mentioned, it's part of PlantExpressTools. So as you may or may not know, PlantExpressTools are a bunch of features for administrators and for users. It's now, this feature is now number 18th. Number 19th is in the making, and there will be many more to come during this year. So there is usually something for everyone. Yeah, so also, since we have a few more minutes left, it's very unusual for me. I want to make or point out for those of you who already use Plant tools or are interested in using them, in Plant Reporter and Plant Data Manager, we changed the user interface so you can now use styles or themes. So as you see, it's now Plant Data Manager here on my machine is in a dark mode. It's called dark room in this case. And so I can close this. This is how it looks. And you can go back. So by default, we do not change the style or the skin. So that would be the regular one, as you may know. But yeah, you can change it to maybe a more dark style that's not quite as dark as I had before, but it has a little less contrast. There's also, if you are more into maybe Macintosh, then yeah, you have here these buttons as you would have in Mac OS. So this is available in Plant Data Manager and Plant Reporter. And yeah, I use Darkroom usually, but there are other ones as available. Also, the left side of Plant Data Manager is now also a palette or a panel and can be docked or moved. You also can stack the various panels on top of each other. This is then, if you know Revit, a little bit like Revit. So maybe I select something. Now you have tabs here. If you also have the relationship panel and you stack it also, now you have here 3 panels stacked on top of each other. But you can also, or again, well, unstack them. I don't know what the expression is. Or you, of course, can use auto hide as well. Also here so you have more space. I should not forget that. So that's also new. But other than that, yeah, in regards to the webinars, we had last year, we had them monthly. We will change that to a quarterly webinar. However, as I mentioned, there will be a blog in English and in German, and the blog will then consist of all the old webinars we had so far, but also in any upcoming future ones. And I can be, or you will be, through our newsletter, will be notified if there are new webinars, but also, of course, you can, or new blogs, I have to say, with videos. I typically do create videos, so you can look, of course, yourself, but in the newsletter, we will then make sure that you are informed that there is new content in the blog you can watch. That gives us and you more flexibility, and when you have the time to watch the video, you are not, let's say, restricted or limited to the times we set up for the webinars. Okay, so then I say thank you for your attention, and for me it's now the day is over, and wherever you are, but I think most of you are actually also from the States. Okay, so then have a nice day, and again, if you need that recording, that session, let me know, and I will make that available to you. Just send an email to either to me, carsten.beinecke@auxalia.com, or to info@auxalia.com, and then I will make that available. Have a nice day.